If you've been dreaming of owning a home near the beach in a nice quaint beachside community, and you've also been paying attention to the direction that prices have been going for the last 18 months, let me introduce you to a section of the Space Coast that have more single-family homes that are near the beach than any other area in the county, and that's the 32937, home of the city of Satellite Beach and the city of Indian Harbor Beach. The 32937 is located in central Brevard County on the east coast. The northern boundary, the major roadway there, is the 404 or Pineda Causeway. The southern boundary is the 518 or the O'Galley Causeway. The main roadway on the east side of town is A1A. The main roadway on the west side of town is South Patrick Drive. And there's connectors between O'Galley and Pineda Causeway that'll get you from the east to west side as well. So besides the two causeways on the north and south that kind of give you the idea of the boundaries, you also have the Atlantic Ocean on the east and the Banana River Lagoon that's on the west side. And because Satellite Beach and Indian Harbor Beach are sandwiched between the O'Galley and the Pineda Causeway, if you need to leave the barrier island, whether for work or other things, it's really easy for you to get off of it by taking either one of them west. They'll connect you to the mainland very easily, and they're both also connectors to I-95. And of course, A1A, that'll take you, south to Sebastian Inlet and beyond. Or if you head north, it'll take you to Port Canaveral, which then turns into 528, where you can get to Orlando, MCO, and other areas. Most of the population in the 32937 are living west of A1A. There are some single-family homes that are along the ocean and some condos too. And most of the conversation I'm having in this video will be talking specifically on the single-family homes that's in either Satellite Beach or Indian Harbor Beach. If you're looking to get more information on condominiums, just let me know below or scan this QR code and grab a time that works for you, and we'll have our discovery call then. Most of the single-family homes in this area are what I like to call dry lots, meaning you're backing up to another home, maybe a park, but you're backing up to something other than water. On the west side of town, you do have homes that are riverfront. They're on the Grand Canal. They're on a navigable canal. These homes are all west of the South Patrick Drive roadway. And there are a handful of homes that are on the east side of South Patrick Drive that are on the water. If you are one of these little canals, these are not necessarily navigable, meaning you're not going to get a pontoon boat to go from the east side to the west side because of how small and low the bridges are. But if you have a kayak or a stand-up paddleboard, you could take the canalway underneath South Patrick Drive and end up on the Grand Canal and go explore the Banana River. So what's the big draw about living in the 32937? Obviously, it's the beaches. There are dozens of beach access points up and down A1A. Most of these are paths or sidewalks that'll lead you to the ocean and the beach crossover. There are a handful of streets between Pineda and O'Galley that do have parking for you to park and go to the beach. And there's quite a few beachfront parks that have much more parking for you to get there to enjoy our beaches. And these parks can be anything from just a simple parking lot to others that have pavilions, volleyball courts, playgrounds, showers, bathrooms, and your access to the beach. Speaking of parks, besides the oceanfront parks that I had just talked about, there are some amazing parks throughout the Indian Harbor Beach and Satellite Beach area. There's DeSoto Park that has sporting fields, playgrounds, kayak launch, and picnic facilities. Satellite Beach Sports Park has ball fields, tennis courts, and racquetball courts. The skate park and dog park. Gleason Park has a beautiful lake with walking trails. There's a playground and the rec facilities that include a swimming pool. Oars and Paddles features a playground, walking trails, and access for kayaking and paddleboarding on the Indian River Lagoon. Sampson Park is a Brevard County park that's in the Satellite Beach area. That's pretty amazing. It's a 52-acre mangrove island that is only accessible by water. And on Sampson Island, you have walking and hiking paths. There's a lot of wildlife to observe there. And they even have primitive campsites. Just know there isn't any potable water on Sampson Island. If you have kiddos and if schools are important to you, here are the school systems for Satellite Beach and Indian Harbor Beach. Elementary are Sea Park, Holland, Surfside, or Ocean Breeze. Middle schools, either Delora or Hoover. And high school is Satellite Beach High. If you're looking for shopping, restaurants, or the commercial areas of Satellite Beach and Indian Harbor Beach, just know mostly it's on the perimeter. Think A1A, South Patrick Drive, and the O'Galley Causeway. Your beachside, there are two Publixes. There is an Aldi's, there's a Lowe's, there's a True Value or Ace Hardware, and a variety of mom and pop style restaurants. Depending on where you're going to be working, the 32937 could be a great location for you. If you happen to be stationed at Patrick Space Force Base, that's probably the closest. Off of Pineda Causeway is the South Gate. And if you head a little further north off A1A, that's where the North Gate is located at. If you're working at one of the government contracting jobs that's located near the Melbourne Airport and the Tech Corridor, you could be there in about 25 minutes. If you're working at one of the campuses of L3 Harris, the furthest one away is in North Palm Bay, and that's about 25 minutes away too. If you're working at Port Canaveral or stationed at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, that's about a 30-minute drive. If you're working and involved with one of the companies at the Kennedy Space Center, the main gate is 45 minutes away. If you're working at one of the medical fields, one of the hospitals or doctor's offices in the area, they're scattered throughout central part of Brevard County. Just know the extreme distances. The furthest away to the north is Parish Medical, and that's about 47 minutes away from the 32937. And at the south end is the Health First in Palm Bay. That's about 35 minutes away. But there are others that are much closer. The Cocoa Beach Hospital is probably 20 minutes away. And once you get over to Melbourne, there's several hospitals that should be less than 20-minute drive. Property taxes. It really depends on what section of the 32937 that you're living in. Indian Harbor Beach has 3 different tax zones. 2 of them have the same millage rate. It's either going to be 15.7238 or 15.886. And Satellite Beach, it depends on if you're inside the city limits or you're outside the city limits. It's 18.1139 in the city limits and 11.8943 outside the city limits. It'll be easier for me to show you this on the map. The very north end of Satellite Beach is outside of the city limits, and it's referred to as South Patrick Shores, even though your postal address will still say Satellite Beach. Homeowners insurance is going to be an important conversation to have for somebody looking to move on a barrier island, really anywhere in the state of Florida. Just know it's going to be expensive. The barrier islands, you're surrounded by water, and it's going to cost more to insure here versus somewhere on the mainland. Since most of the homes beachside are 20 years or older, you're going to need to have a 4-point inspection done before you can get an accurate insurance quote. They're going to be looking at the age of the roof, the HVAC system, the plumbing, and the electrical. I would recommend planning on $6,000 to $8,000 a year for your homeowner's insurance. Of course, it could be more than that. Hopefully, it'll be less. And it always comes up when we're talking about insurance and living on a barrier island. Do I need flood insurance in order to live there? Fortunately, almost all of the barrier island is considered flood zone X, which means it's not required to have flood insurance. But for a good peace of mind, if it's something that you're interested in, it really depends upon the address of the property and the elevation of the lot on what that flood insurance is going to cost you. Usually when we start talking about flood insurance, the next topic that comes up will be hurricanes. Really, it depends on the storm season on whether or not there might be an evacuation. It depends on the size of the storm, and it depends on the direction the storm's coming. Since 32937 is a barrier island, if they call for a mandatory evacuation, they're going to ask you to leave. Just know they can't force you out of your home. Just make sure you're using the best judgment of what's right for you and your family and how to proceed from there. I know I started this video talking about the number of single-family homes that's in the 32937, which are over 7,500 properties. It only makes sense to start talking about what kind of properties are selling and the price point. So far in 2025, from January 1st through August 31st, we've had 208 home sales in this area. Home sale prices range from $300,000 on the low end to $4.9 million. Average sales price was $767,000. The median sales price was $605,000. Most of these home sales, the properties were not in an HOA. 159 of them were not in an HOA. The average age or year that a property was built was 1974. The median year built of these 208 home sales was 1967. So you can see there are older homes here on the barrier island. With that being said, 22 of the home sales were built 2000 or newer. There is a new community at the north end in Satellite Beach called The View that you can have a home built today if you would like. Home sizes range from the tiny of 846 square feet to the massive estate of over 9,300 square feet. 45 of the home sales were on the water. 22 of these home sales were over $1 million. Just know in this area we have two exclusive type communities that are on the river. You have Tortoise Island and Lansing Island. These are both gated communities that have 24-hour guards. So if you don't live in that community or have an appointment to visit someone, you're not getting in. Those are the sales that have happened recently, and just know available for sale. There's anywhere from 70 on the low end to over 100 homes available for sale at any given time. And that's not counting the condos or townhomes that could be available too. There are a large selection of properties for you to choose from in the 32937. Something to point out, these are two great beachside communities that happen to share the same zip code. Even though they appear to be very similar driving through the communities, just know they are two completely different cities or towns. They each have their own city council, they have their own mayor, they have their own police departments and emergency services. They also have two separate laws as well. Even though they are very similar in a lot of ways, the one thing that they're different is how they look at Airbnb and short-term vacation style rentals. City of Satellite Beach, they're very much against them. If your property is on the west side of A1A, they have a 90-day minimum rental restriction. If your property is on the east side of A1A, they have a 30-day minimum rental restriction. Indian Harbor Beach, on the other hand, they'll allow daily, weekly, or monthly rentals. Just know that if you are going to participate with the Airbnb or short-term vacation type rentals, you will need to register their property, and they have all that information on their website on the fees and applications and what you need to do to proceed. If you do have the dream and you think now is the time to pursue to get that beachside house so you can be close to the beach and the ocean, I lived that life most of my life, and it is fantastic to be able to take a short walk or a bike ride and be on the beach, have your toes in the sands, and go for a swim in the ocean. I hope this video helped and answered some questions that you might have, and if it's happened to spark other questions you have, just know that I'm here to help. This QR code will take you to my calendar. Grab a time that works best for you and let's have a discovery call so we can answer all the questions you might have. If you're still in research mode, I'm also queuing up 2 more videos right here for you to watch next. My name's Eric Larkin with Real Broker. I appreciate you stopping by, and I'll see you on the next show.